What is going on, my friends? Happy Monday to all of you. I'm Lauren Sisler with AL.com, bringing you into I guess, second week of February here as we cruise right in on SEC Insider. And I'm so excited to bring in our good friend of AL.com and the show here, my buddy, Mac Hereford. What is up? Long time no see, no talk.
Long time no see, Lauren. I'm happy to be here. Missed y'all, so glad to come on.
Yeah, so Mac Hereford, former receiver at Alabama. I know you're finishing up grad school right now, right at Vanderbilt. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Hanging out in the old Nashville. I was wondering because when I saw your backdrop, I was like, I don't think he's home right now in Alabama and Birmingham. So we appreciate your time. I know you got lots of work to do, lots of studying going on. But look, Mac, I thought you'd be the perfect person to join us today to talk about this leaked video that circulated last week. So February 1st was National Signing Day. And this video got leaked with Nick Saban essentially doing his recruiting pitch. So this recruit, Anaya White, five-star defensive end prospect, I guess was this thing got recorded, ended up out on Twitter. And really, we don't know the backstory on, like, I guess it got out on Twitter where it was posted to a coach's account. So I kind of want to get your thoughts first and foremost. Like, something like this happens. Like, if you're being recruited by Nick Saban, wouldn't you be, like, scared out of your mind to record something like this and put it out on social media?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, I think that, like, my initial thought when I saw it was like, what the heck? Like, how did this get out here? And, like, oh my gosh, like, Saban's not going to be happy because it's just pretty, like, that conversation is supposed to be between him and the player. It's not supposed to be between anyone else. And so for the player, it looks kind of bad on his part. I don't know if the coach was like, in there and said, let me film this, or how that worked. Or if he just filmed it on his own, because I know the coach posted on his, like, Instagram account or something. But at the same time, yeah, it's just not a good look. You don't want that information out there. You don't want people to know that you were the one who leaked it. And I think it just looks bad upon the recruit when you have information like that. It's supposed to be private that, you allow to get out there.
Yeah, and you would just think that a coach, especially would have the wherewithal to say, like, this is a private conversation, because back in the day, if you're just talking on the cell phone, you're most likely not going to be recording that call. Yeah, you're going to be excited. Yeah, you're going to be, piped up that, Nick Saban's calling you on the phone. But I don't think the first thought is like, ooh, let me record this. Or if, let's just say, you walked into Saban's office and sat down at his desk, like, are you going to take your cell phone and be like, all right, coach, give me your pitch? Like, okay. Like, so that, to me, to your point, is just crazy. So I don't know how many people out here saw this video, and I want to get reaction from it, but we'll start with kind of the second clip that really stands out to me, when Nick Saban basically talks about other schools. You come to a school and, like, if you go to Alabama, you're not going to get to play right away. Well, if you come to our school, you're going to get to play right away. So let's roll this clip of Nick Saban and kind of giving his pitch, and I'll get your take on this first off.
Everybody's going to tell you in recruiting, oh, don't go to Alabama. You can play at our school before you can play there. They got all these good players there. You won't be able to play. You can play at our place earlier. I think that's the worst stuff that people can tell you. First of all, when they tell you that, they're first of all insulting you. Because I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you if you couldn't play here. Right. Number two, when they say you can play at our place before you can play at Alabama, they're just telling you Alabama's better than them. Yeah. That's number two. All right. Then number three, is if you ask our players on our team, they'll tell you just the opposite. They'll tell you the competition may be better. Marlon Humphrey will say.
Yeah, so that's it there. Patrick, you can stop the clip. So Nick Saban, first of all, I love the fact that he's just like, hey, what's up, chilling out. Like, I mean, you're Nick Saban, you could do that, right? So just kind of starting with those thoughts, you went to Alabama. You were a former receiver, obviously a preferred walk-on the team, and someone that got to experience everything from every different level. And when Nick Saban talks about the competition, I mean, I guess vouch for that. When he's pitching to you, that it don't matter when you play, because you're going to come in here and you're going to get housed every single day. You're going to get your reps, and you're going to go against some of the best guys. what are some experiences for you, like from the minute you step foot on campus? Because you knew you wanted to go to Alabama early on. You pretty much said, I'm going to do what it takes to go to Alabama. That's where I want to go.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just unbelievable. I can remember back to my freshman year fall camp, or freshman year summer, like 7-on-7. The new guys, we all come in, and we do our workouts in the morning. We got 7-on-7 in the afternoon, and it's just the players out there because the coaches can't be out there during the summer for 7-on-7. And Christian Miller at the time, linebacker, he's now with the Panthers, I believe. He's 6'3", like 245, around that weight, like at the time, and makes a big stop in 7-on-7 and does a complete backflip on the field, just like easy. And that's when I was like, oh my God, like there's a 6'3" person doing a 6'3", 245-pound person doing a backflip, making it look easy on the field, and running with that speed. But then every day, the competition, especially it was a blessing for me to get to go against guys like, you have Patrick Surtain, you have Josh Jobe, Jared Maiden, Trayvon Diggs, Marlon Humphrey, Anthony Averett, Nick Fitzpatrick. The list just goes on and on of these DBs who are the best in the country, and most of them are wound up in the NFL and being the top player in their class. So the competition was crazy good, and definitely a reason why, Coach Saban's right when he says that you want to come play with the best, they're here.
They're here. And going along with that, you talk about a 6'3", 245. We're not talking about somebody just doing a backflip off a diving board either. Look, as a former gymnast, I know the drill. It takes some grace, it takes some agility, some flexibility, and of course some speed and power. So I love that. So I want to play the first part of the clip. So this is Coach Saban kind of talking about what you said, that you're recruiting the best of the best. And so I mean, you're Nick Saban, you're sitting on the other side of this. I mean, first and foremost, you can probably just sit there and look at Nick Saban and be like, I already know your street cred, I already know your credentials, but he lists them out here. And even after I've heard these credentials a million times over, listening to him say it, I'm like, okay, well, yeah, I'd probably want to go to Alabama too.
Won more championships. We won 6 championships in the last 11 years. We've been in the national championship game 8 out of the last 11 years. We've been in the playoffs 9 out of the last 11 years. We got more guys drafted than any school in the country. We had 64 guys playing in the league last year. The next school had 41. So we got way more players playing in the league than anybody else. So
right there, the mic drop. Way more players. Kick it back. Let's go. I mean, that right there. I mean, that just speaks volumes. And to your point, I want to ask you. So, when you talk about the recruiting aspect of things, you knew you wanted to go to Alabama. What was it about Alabama that you knew you had your heart set on? I'm going to Alabama at all costs, even if I've got to go as a preferred walk-on, even if I have to go work my way up into the ranks. Why was Alabama that to you? Why was it so specifically? And I guess you were recruited. What year was that? 2010?
Let's see, 2015 or 2016.
Oh, wait, I just said 2010. Like, you're still a baby. Duh. You're still a baby. I don't know why I said 2010. 2016. Okay, yeah. So you obviously are now in grad school. So 2016, I mean, what was it about Alabama that you're like, I'm going to that school no matter what?
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I always grew up loving Alabama, wanted to be an Alabama football player. But if I had to look at it from a perspective of, okay, that's not where I wanted to go my whole life, but more of just like the facts and what's going on, and what they offer, then there's different things like playing with the best. Because personally, I wanted to be the best football player I could be. That was like my ultimate goal. And when I saw that was an option at Alabama, with the competition, with the talent to be able to go out there and compete every day, it was a no-brainer for me. Not only that, but the facilities are top-notch. Every little group, everything they do is at the elite level. Their training staff, their coaches, you're getting the best of the best. And so my thing is like, what is your goal? If you want to be the best football player you can possibly be, which was my goal, why would you go anywhere besides the place that allows you to do that the best way? And then Lauren, I find it funny. Someone said in there, one thing about the recruiting pitch, you can't steal it. No other coach can steal it, which I think is true. Just because there's the facts in that video that you showed, it's just the fact that, like, look, no other team is pumping out these numbers, and Saban's just spitting straight facts. He's not like trying to facts, yo. He's literally saying, this is what we can give you, and we show that we can give you this because of these reasons, because of we can back it up with all these things we've done, which I think is, speaks a lot to him and shows his value for time.
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. So Vance, thank you for the comment there. So with that being said, that takes me kind of to my next question. All right, so if let's just say Nick Saban, he's not leaving Alabama, y'all. This is not like fake news or anything. Let's just say though he were to pack up and move one day, he ends up going to another school. We'll just say Texas. I know that was on the radar at one point, and there were rumors swirling around that was a possibility. But let's just say he ends up going to Texas, and we know Nick Saban is obviously he's proven himself. He loses players every year. He loses coaches every year. He's bringing them back in every year. Well, let's just say he goes to another program that's, obviously highly touted, obviously has the profile and really the facilities. I know that's a big part of it. How long do you think it takes a guy like Nick Saban to get a program to the championship level and to where they're at, at least kissing where they're at Alabama? How long do you think that takes a guy like Nick Saban just because he is in fact Nick Saban?
Yeah, I think it would take him around. This is kind of quick, but I think 2 to 3 years. I think Saban will be able to get his his feet settled somewhere, use their resources depending on it. It depends a lot on what school he would go to. If it's a big school like Texas, like you're saying, like a big powerhouse, football program who's done well in the past in history, then 2 to 3 years. It's just because of the fact that he runs a system, and he's going to put that system in place wherever he goes. And a lot of these recruits are coming to Alabama, for Alabama, but a lot for Coach Saban. Everybody wants to play for Coach Saban. So I think, pretty quickly he would be able, if he were to end up somewhere else, to build the top recruiting class in the nation.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, I like to call it the GCOAT, greatest class of all time. That's what he pulled in here as we head into 2021, which is pretty impressive because there have been a lot of challenges. You've experienced it. I mean, obviously you took off, went to Vanderbilt for grad school, and literally have experienced those same challenges of schools just trying to pick up the pieces during this pandemic. What am I going to do? Like, things are crazy. And to be able to continue to do that, obviously, you look back to several months ago and people are like, I mean, Alabama is like off the radar, like not even in the top 10 in recruiting right now. And everyone was like freaking out. Oh my gosh, like what's happening? So for him to be able to do that, and obviously to rein things in a time where it is unique, guys aren't able to come on campus. So a program has to sell itself via Zoom, essentially, which is pretty crazy when you think about it. And that's exactly what feeds into this. I do want to kind of circle back. So obviously we talked about the practice and stuff. Well, it's interesting because one of the comments at the end also was like, not everybody can, play for the Yankees, right? So you're talking about the best of the best. So Nick Saban making those comparisons. But another thing I thought was interesting, a lot of guys took to Twitter to basically express their concern about the fact that this video goes viral and, kind of says like, I think this is kind of holy ground. This is sacred ground. So Cam Robinson being one of them. Why was this even being recorded? Henry Ruggs responding to Jared Maiden's thing. Jared Maiden said, new recruiting age, weird, trying to get some clout. And then Henry Ruggs said, yeah, that's about it. So obviously these guys kind of concerned about it. With that being said, something like that gets leaked, something like that gets put out there, to Vance's point, no other coach can steal this and use it. So that's a fair point. But do you think that kind of like guys chiming in and saying like, why did something like this happen? Do you think there's a lot of things that happen at Alabama? It's a brotherhood, but you had to feel it. There's certain things there that it's almost like when I leave Alabama, this is something I'm going to hold in my heart, and not everybody else needs to know it. But this is something that I'm going to carry with me forever because I experienced something very special and unique at Alabama.
Yeah, I think it's exactly that. It's that kind of like that energy, that feeling, whenever you're a part of something, whether it be an old sports team, whether it be a school, etc. This is as close as you can get. You're with these guys, like, we're all together every single day. We're putting in all this time. Alabama especially is a program where, most of our day is taken up by football, meetings, practice, etc. So when you're going through all these things, then you're going through fall camp where it's like 9 hours a day or whatever it may be, having speakers on speakers and practice and meetings on meetings, all that makes you a lot closer. And then, a lot of the thing was what happens at the complex, what happens at the football facility stays there because it's family matter. It's family business that's how we like to say it. And so when we graduate, and we did a good job, previously of doing that, keeping it in-house, and seeing guys like that after we leave, it gets a little under some people's skin because a lot of these guys still care. And obviously we have so many alumni who love the university. And so it stinks to see that. And I can see why those guys would be upset, as I was pretty shocked originally, although I did want to know a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, I just think that's why those guys are upset, and I can understand that completely.
Yeah, definitely anxious to see kind of how that unfolds and sort of what we learn about that. But, maybe a lesson learned or words of the wise that despite social media, everything's out there and nothing is private these days, unfortunately. But to keep some of those things and to know, what should be kept private and what shouldn't be kept private. So certainly good insight there. And obviously, interesting times. It'll be fun to see this class. I know you're keeping a close eye on them, but we'd love to have you back on the show to talk more about, the upcoming signing class, guys that are out there ready to shine. And of course, we've got the NFL draft coming up, many guys that you played with, spent many times going up against. And we'd love to get some insight on that as well. So we'll have you back on the show, SEC Insider, and whatever else comes our way. But we appreciate you, Mac. As always, you the best. And we'll check in with you soon.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm glad we had some fun today. I can't wait to be back.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.